Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we'll be big box store plant shopping at Walmart in Anna, Texas. Now, Anna, Texas is a small town out in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at, but this is way further up north. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button and also following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. If you like 1 hour plant shopping videos daily, hit the subscribe button with the notification bell on and you'll be able to see content like this on a daily basis. But today I am going to Anna, Texas Walmart. We just had a tornado blow by around 6-7 a.m. in the Dallas area. Super scary. Thank goodness I wasn't hurt. None of my plants were hurt. No trees were broken around my neighborhood, but there are several places in the Dallas area that really suffered. Lots of people lost some electricity. So for my local plant foldies out in Dallas, I hope you guys are safe. But anyways, I just wanted to show you guys the Anna, Texas Walmart because I found that small town big box stores typically have some interesting plant finds. I've seen some really uncommon plants that I would never expect. And I think it's because big box stores at a small town may not necessarily have as many plant enthusiasts, so the plants are a little bit more readily available. I did want to show you guys some of these planters before I got to the plants. So that's one thing that I also love looking at is planters. I love terracotta planters. I'm very specific or particular about my planters. Typically, I like to stick to like matte finishes or terracotta planters for my plant collection. I like pinks, although this pink one right here, I would prefer it to be more of a matte finish versus shiny glazes. That's really just my plant aesthetic. And again, plant foldies, I really want to know what your plant style is. You know, we talk about the plants that we like to grow, but are you also particular about the plants that you put in certain planters? So I'd really like to know about that. I typically get a lot of my planters from Target. They have some really nice planters that I've really appreciated. And then even this week, they got planters at Target for 30% off if you do an actual order pickup. So that's really cool. But the Better Homes and Garden plant collection right here, the planters that they have at Walmart have been really elevated in terms of the styling. So you can see we've got those dark planters there. I would like recommend like for a dark gray planter, putting like a dark foliage plant like maybe a Raven ZZ or something of that nature. And then these light planters right over here, I like to go put, you know, more colorful plants or even darker plants. So it just really depends on the type of plants you have and just really the space you have. I do like some of the textured planters, but I honestly prefer very simple, smooth surfaces rather than, you know, planters with different shapes. Now, it really just depends on your plant styling. Again, for me, it is just about what you're interested in or what you like. But as you can see here, lots of planters by Better Homes and Garden by Walmart. I love the look of that, and it is another plant that really looks really cool. And like these gray ones right here, I would buy them as well, and they're priced fairly well. So plant foldies, just let me know what you think about these planters. And you can see right here, I like the texture of this one. But anyways, going to Anna, Texas is actually interesting because while it is a Walmart that is way up north, I noticed that they have quite a bit of plants to take a look at. So we're just gonna see what plant finds we have. I did want to say thank you to all of the plant foldies that tuned in last night for the big plant party premiere. I had a 3.5 hour long compilation video marathon of me plant shopping. So those were really repurposed plant shopping videos that I made in the past. And I just really wanted to make a longer format video for two reasons. One is because I'm preparing to go to the Philippines and I need content that I could schedule out. And I just didn't know if I would have time to create newer videos. And then number two, I wanted to create a long video just because we always chat on the live premiere chats, and 3.5 hour long video. I was surprised excited, super happy that so many people tuned in to that. So I really appreciate that. I was really surprised about the reception. So just know if you see any plant shopping videos that are scheduled out for like June 28th, June 29th, those are compilation videos. And I really hope that you will still engage with me on that. But as you can see here, lots of hanging baskets by Costa Farms. Notice how they had those really full teddy bear vine plants. I really like the look of that one as well. That I thought that was super cool. And then we had some more other plants as well that we can look at. These Photonias. Photonias are really easy to care for plant. Not really, I was just joking. Photonias are actually more challenging to grow. And then you can see right here, we've got an Epipremnum pinnatum Marble Queen Pothos. Beautiful variegation. If I find one that's got some really good variegation, I may end up buying another one. And that's the thing, certain plants, no matter what, if I say that I have like a plant, you know, plant budget or a no plant buy, I will break that easily if I find a plant that just really piques my interest. So we'll see. Now with Epipremnum pinnatum Marble Queen Pothos, it's got a beautiful variegation, but in order for it to really maintain its variegation, you have to give it a lot of bright indirect light. And notice how this is a beautiful yucca plant. Love that yucca cane. I don't really talk a lot about yucca cane plants because I don't really know a lot about them, and I'm not as interested to grow them in my space. I do love the look of these Diphymbachias right over here, these assorted Diphymbachias. And then you can see right here, we've got another beautiful and easy to care for plant. This is a Raven ZZ, and notice how it is plants with benefits, assorted foliage, stay centered. I really like that, you know, Costa Farms sources out so many plants, and I'm just impressed by the operation that Costa Farms has in terms about what plants they are able to source, whether it's common plants, rare plants. They just have plants everywhere you go. You can go to a big box store, a grocery store, a local plant shop, and still find Costa Farms plants. Over here, we've got some orchids, these Phalaenopsis orchids. Love Phalaenopsis orchids. And then we also have an Epipremnum aureum golden pothos for $10.97. Love Epipremnum aureum golden pothos, or just pothos plants in general, whether it's a golden pothos, a marble queen pothos, an enjoy pothos. They come in so many varieties. Now, I will say the golden pothos is probably the first pothos I would recommend for a beginner. These are $10.97, so that's a really good price for a pothos plant in a hanging basket. Know that you can grow them and let them trail, and you can actually take several cuttings. They root very easily in water, and so you can also just get more and more plants. Now, if you provide pothos plants a little bit more bright indirect light, they will actually grow at a faster rate as compared to you know, giving them lower light conditions. And that's the thing about plants. Some plants can tolerate lower light conditions, but that doesn't mean that they will thrive at all. They will just survive. They won't necessarily grow. So just keep that in mind. Here is a plant that I love looking at. This is a strawberry begonia by Costa Farms. This is another plant that you can take several propagations from because it shoots little babies out. It's similar to like a spider plant. Now with strawberry begonia, it has some beautiful leaf interest and texture. I do prefer the more variegated form on it. But yeah, plant foldies. Let me know what you guys think of all of these plants. I know I often show you guys the same types of plants, the same type of video format, but when I say that I really appreciate you guys coming in, watching my videos nightly, choosing to spend your time to engage with me, engage with the plant foldy community, it really does mean a lot to me. And I hope that we continue to have this momentum just because it is a community that I look forward to. These live premiere chats, I look forward to that. It is one of my highlights to just be able to create a space where everybody is welcome and where everybody is able to just talk about plants. But as you can see here, Anna Texas Walmart has some pretty good plants. You know, these are large basic plants. You know, we've got some Dracaena Massangiana, we've got some yucca cane, we've got some Majesty palms. I haven't talked about Majesty palms quite a bit, but they are around. And you can see here, this is a yucca cane, nice looking plant. And then right next to it is some Dracaena Massangianas. Now, these larger foliage plants are typically seen in more like corporate offices. I wish more people would just grow them in their homes though. And you can see right here, Photonia plants. I mentioned how it was an easy to care for plant. I was just joking. Photonias are actually challenging plants, and the reason why they're challenging plants is because they require a little bit more water, and maybe they're more challenging for me because I don't really water my plants as often as I should. And truthfully, it's because I have really fallen off on the plant upkeep. You know, you talk about plant care. If you're not actually, you know, watering your plants, that's not really taking care of your plants. And I have been a little bit of a bad plant parent in that sense. And I think it's because I have really overstretched myself sometimes with the amount of time I have for myself to grow them. And you can see here, Texas bluebonnet. I wanted to highlight Texas's state flower. I love those. You can literally toss them in the ground, and year after year they'll come back. I really love that flower. And then you can see here, I am so surprised that Anna Texas has all of these amazing looking teddy bear vine hanging baskets. Now these are all for 1984. Notice how full these teddy bear hanging baskets are. Look at that. And then, you know, it makes me think of all the big box stores that I've gone shopping. Isn't it amazing that Costa Farms can just, you know, provide so many beautiful plants all over the country in the United States? I mean, I just think it's awesome. Like right here is a Rex Begonia. This is a Red Kiss Rex Begonia for 1984. I love that crimson color. That is such a beautiful color that it has. And also just the black border around the leaves. It's a really nice looking Rex Begonia. Now with Rex Begonia, they can be a little bit challenging. You want to make sure that you're not getting the leaves wet or the stems wet. Otherwise, it can rot away, and that's just not good. It'll end up just killing the plant. And then over here, we've got a Trade Scantia. This one is a purple one. This is the burgundy one, or the Zabrina one that we often see. What I like about Trade Scantia is they're easy to take care of. What I dislike about them is that they can get very leggy very quickly. You can see this one's already gotten a little bit leggy. So with this particular Trade Scantia, you would have to really cut it back in order for it to really encourage more bushy growth. My only Trade Scantia that I really enjoy growing would be the Trade Scantia Nanook. It's got larger foliage and it's easy to propagate. I also have the Trade Scantia Velvet that's doing very well for me. Here is a Philodendron heteroraceum, or some people call this a Philodendron cordatum, just a green form. Really like this as well. This is a classic house plant that's easy to grow. It is just as easy as growing a pothos plant, although the growth rate is a little bit slower than the pothos plant, but not by much, especially since it's just a green variety. And this is a beautiful Epipremnum aurea marble queen pothos. Look at that. I'm gonna actually buy this one, even though it is for 1984. I will pay full price for this because look at how full and lush this is and highly variegated it is. It's very variegated. I would even say that this looks like a snow queen pothos. Now, in order for me to maintain the variegation on this marble queen pothos, I would really need to make sure that it does get a lot of bright indirect light. If not, it will get a little bit more green just because it's going to try to produce more chlorophyll in order for it to photosynthesize. This is a little bit slower growing of a pothos as compared to the golden pothos or even the jade pothos because there's not a lot of green on it, so it doesn't photosynthesize, if that makes any sense. I am going to definitely buy that today. I didn't intend to buy a plant, honestly, but when you run into a plant at a big box store and it's a nice plant, sometimes you just break the bank and just go ahead and buy it. I know that I am going so broke with all of these plant shopping videos, but you know, you live once. And you can see this is an example of a pothos marble queen that may not have gotten all of that bright light. That part over there has some green. What I would do is actually trim back the green parts to encourage more of the variegation. That's what a lot of people do in terms of any of their variegated plants. Sometimes trimming back the green will help push out the variegation. Now this is an example of a plant that is the variegation is really influenced by the amount of light you give it. So with the marble queen pothos, make sure you are giving them a lot of bright indirect light. Notice how this one also has a beautiful variegation as well. So I am impressed with the Anna Walmart plants because look at this. I haven't seen that many hanging baskets of Epipremnum aurea marble queen pothos. What high quality variegation we have here. I will always buy a pothos, especially one that's from Costa Farms. Costa Farms has some really nice healthy looking hanging baskets, and that's the thing. Maybe they just unloaded these hanging baskets and I just got lucky, but this is another plant that I definitely am going to go ahead and purchase because I want, you know, more pothos plants. You can never have enough pothos plants. I definitely enjoy growing pothos. It's a classic plant, and it's a plant that I would recommend anybody that's growing indoor house plants for the first time. It's a very easy beginner plant, and that's the thing. Easy to care for plants, plant foldies. That is the best way to go about starting your plant collection. You don't want to start out with a plant that is a little bit more challenging, like a calathea, for instance, because if you kill a plant, at least for me, I end up getting a little bit more discouraged. And I have learned that now if I do kill a plant, I have to just really step back, reassess what I did wrong and where I can do better. And it's typically because either I didn't give it the right lighting conditions, maybe I didn't give it enough care, or maybe it was a plant that wasn't suited for my climate or even my indoor space. So those are a couple of things that I reflect on. And then if I want to go ahead and buy that plant again, I will end up doing it and maybe do better in growing it. But speaking of a plant that's super easy, everyone go ahead and buy yourself a Raven ZZ plant. Now people will say that ZZ plants are slower growing. I haven't really seen that because my Raven ZZ has done very well. I was able to save a lot of money by waiting to find it on clearance for $8 when it was for $19.84. It does thrive in neglect. I grow mine in a lower light condition and it's still doing very well. I will say with ZZ plants, you want to make sure that they are more on the drier side, so you don't really want to overwater a ZZ plant, otherwise it will root rot very quickly. And that's the plant that I think is best for me, because I am the type of person that doesn't really water my plants as often as I should. And I think it's because I'm also afraid to water my plants often because I'm afraid of like gnats, fungus gnats. I had a really bad gnat infestation where literally it was just all over my house, and keeping my surfaces dry tends to keep the gnats away. Now these are some dracaenas right here. I love dracaenas. This one is a beautiful one as well. Again, this is a plant that is super underrated, but it's super easy. So all of that beautiful green on green variegation is actually stable. You can grow that in a lower light condition and it will still do very well. And then over here, what a beautiful looking yucca cane plant. I don't know a lot about yucca canes, so plant foldies, again, please leave that in the comments. Let me know what you think about yucca canes, what the plant care tips are for yucca canes. Just as much as you guys have tuned in to learn about my my plant insights, and I am humbled and flattered that you guys find my videos educational. I never really claim to be a plant expert. I literally just go by some of the research I've done and more so my experience with plants in general. I've been growing plants for several decades, and that's just something I wanted to share with you guys. But at the same time, there are many amazing plant foldies that know a lot about plants. So please feel free to put in your plant insights in the comments section, what plants you're growing, what plant care tips you would give. I love it all. I love the engagement. You already know that that is one huge way to really support the channel. And over here, we've got a Dieffenbachia. So I love Dieffenbachia. You know, I always talk about Dieffenbachia and my love for it. It's just a plant that I can't really grow in my collection. The Dieffenbachia I have, the Dieffenbachia Sparkle and also the Dieffenbachia Cool Beauty, are actually growing outside in my front patio, just because that is just the easiest venue for me to grow them. They get enough light and they get ambient humidity. And also there are natural predators for these pests like spider mites outside as compared to the indoors. So that's the thing. If you ever are struggling with plants, growing them outside in a shaded patio is the best way. Or if you're trying to rehabilitate a plant, sometimes it's easier just to take them out. I will say I have a bunch of syngoniums that haven't done very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop them back, put them outside, and let them just grow and do their things. You can see right here, this is a ZZ plant that has a piece that fell off. What I'm going to do is actually just stick that back into the soil. So yes, I am that type of person that will go to a big box store or any plant nursery. If there's like something that's broken off, I will try to stick it back into the soil, knowing that it could potentially propagate itself. I really love plants. I care about plants, even if they're the most basic plants. Even when I see plants that are on clearance, I always hope that somebody would, give a plant a chance to take them home. If I could honestly take more plants in, I would, but I just know my space constraints. I want to try to make plants be an enhancement for my life, a de-stressor and not a stressor. And what happens is, or what I've seen in the past, or even in my personal community, is that I will get overwhelmed. I will get overwhelmed because I have like over 100 plants. They're all over my surfaces, and then it becomes more of a chore versus a hobby that brings me joy. So plant foldies, let me know what you think, and then let me know what you think about this Hedera helix, or what I call the Hedera helix, English ivy. Now this is an interesting one. What a plant find. This is for 1984, and this is what I'm talking about. Going to a small town big box store like Walmart, I've never seen this English ivy, and I'm disappointed that there is not a plant ID for it. Notice how it's got a different texture, but more so look at the variegation on this. That is so cool. If I wasn't buying the Marble Queen Pothos, I would probably buy this. I'm already being bad because the other day I couldn't resist but buy another English ivy. I got it on clearance for 50% off, so it would be my 15th English ivy I'm attempting to grow. I've already killed 14, so we'll see. But this is such a cool looking variegated English ivy. Plant foldies, let me know what you think. If you know the plant ID for this one, that is super cool. I want to buy it actually, but again, it's one of those things where I need to really look at my budget. I am going on a trip overseas, so I've got to save my money. I will say, full transparency, if you love this content and want to support me on my plant budget, there is an option to drop a tip for my video. Obviously, you're not obligated to do so, but they have what they call a super sticker or a super thanks. You can either drop a super sticker during a live premiere chat, or if you're just watching this video, there is a button where you can press and drop a tip. I will say thank you to the plant foldies that have left me tips. I'm sometimes surprised about the tips that you guys give me. Really appreciate that. I didn't want to put that out there, but the best way to support the channel, obviously, is just hit the like button. Literally, just hit the like button. If you are listening to me talk about this, if you are on the live premiere chats, or if you're just watching this as a team replay, hit that like button for me. That's all I ask. And you can see here, being in a small town big box store, look at these philodendron painted ladies. So I have not seen these Costa Farm trending tropical philodendron painted ladies in a long time, and now they have some right over here. Here's the thing about philodendron painted lady. It is a beautiful neon yellow plant, but the thing about it is you have to be able to give it a little bit more bright light in order for it to really retain its yellow. If it doesn't get that bright yellow, that light, it will not retain its yellow is what I'm trying to say. It will be more of a green tone, so just make sure you are cognizant about your lighting conditions. And then you can see right here, more easy to care for plants. So this one is a Epipremnum pinnatum Baltic Blue for 1984. It's an easy plant. The only thing I will say about Baltic Blue is it does require some more bright light in order for it to not get leggy. Any Epipremnum pinnatum tend to shoot out more runners versus foliage if it doesn't get enough light, especially the Cebu Blue Pothos. So check that out. And then here's another fun fact. Epipremnum pinnatum or Baltic Blue is actually endemic to my home country, or where my family is from, which is the Philippines. Proud Filipino right over here. If you are Filipino, mabuhay, and also leave comments in Tagalog. I can speak Tagalog as well. Love to connect with some kababayans, but as you can see here, we have even more plants, and I do think that this is an interesting Monstera Deliciosa. What's interesting is this plant used to be quite expensive a couple of years back, about 3 to 4 years ago, and now it is only for 1984. I do have one of these trending tropicals. This one prefers to grow on a totem pole or moss pole. So if you are going to grow this, to get the best out of this plant, you want to really give it something to climb on. That's the thing about certain plants. You can maximize on their potential beauty by seeing if they need to be growing more of their natural habitat. And a lot of these philodendrons and aroids typically want to climb or typically want to crawl. They don't really like to trail. I know that a lot of these plants are typically put in hanging baskets and are allowed to trail, but that's not always the natural habit of growing these plants. So just be mindful about the plants that you take in. And you can see here, Aglaonema. What a beautiful Aglaonema. Now, I don't know the plant ID for this particular Aglaonema. I love Aglaonema. That's still one of my favorite plants to grow. What I've noticed about Aglaonemas is even though they are tolerant of being underwatered, you still have to water them. Like literally, I have not watered certain Aglaonemas in my collection for a month, and I'm still surprised that they have survived. I would say they've declined in their health. So again, that's me being a bad plant parent. And I'm okay with being transparent about that. I am by no means a professional when it comes to like growing plants. And I know that I'm not always the best at plant care. I do recognize that. And that's the thing again about my plant YouTube channel. I'm always gonna give you my most authentic self. I mentioned this in a lot of my videos, but I don't really have a script when it comes to my plant commentary and voiceover. I just feel like it's easier for me to be more organic in my commentary. I found, at least based on the feedback you've given me, is that me just being very candid and very unrehearsed with my plant commentary kind of makes you feel like you're hanging out with me. And that's the reason why I do faceless. It's kind of like if you and I were just walking together and I'm literally talking your ear away. But as I pan away from here, you can see there are so many beautiful plants. And even if these plants are just, you know, some of them are common, some of them we've seen in the past. Let me know what you think though. Which plants would you buy from this haul of plants so far? I did want to go show you some plants outside, but I'm going to take a little bit more time to show you some of these plants, like this sago palm right here. Really like the look of sago palm, specifically the sago palm when it starts to unfurl its leaves. I love that as well. And you can see, look at that. That is so cool. Now, one thing about sago palm is, in like most palms, is you want to make sure that you're providing the palm a lot of light. They really do need light in order for them to really thrive. There are a couple of plants that do, you know, some palms that can tolerate lower light conditions, but typically they need some more light. So just be mindful about that. And then you can see that they have these readily available at most big box stores. And then this Epipremnum Amplissumum silver streak, it's another plant that I love. Silver foliage plants as well. It is another plant that I would love to add to my collection. You know, there's just a lot of plants I would love to add to my collection, but there are space constraints and also just time constraints. I think it's, for me, it's more time constraints. Like I just don't always have the time to take care of plants, specifically watering. Like if I could pay somebody to water my plants, I would consider doing it. But that's the thing about plant parenting, is you have to be mindful about that. Now, I did want to go walk outside and show you guys the outdoor garden section of this Walmart. Now, we just had a tornado blow through Dallas at 6 a.m. this morning. It was super scary. I, again, am thankful. I'm so thankful that nothing happened to my home, nothing happened to me, nothing happened to my immediate family or friends. So that's, you know, a good thing. But several businesses did lose power. I meant to go to some more of these local plant nurseries, but a lot of them are closed today. I'm surprised I'm out and about, but the only reason why I am in Anna, Texas is because my brother-in-law needed me to pick him up, and he was literally 8 minutes up the road from this Walmart. So I figured I'd go ahead and film a video. I wanted to just spend the rest of the day actually doing plant chores. So that's what I'll do. And I'm off tomorrow, so I'll have some more time to do plant chores. But anyways, lots of outdoor plants here. And I am a little disappointed because at this point, I was almost done doing the voiceover, so I actually had to start over. Something with my video editor caused me to not save my voiceover. So I'm a little bit frustrated, but that goes to show that if you just have to have patience, I suppose, when it comes to like doing plant shopping videos. Again, if you made it this far to my plant shopping video, please make sure you are hitting that subscribe button, hitting the like button. There is a lot of effort and energy and time placed into these videos. And while my videos may not be the most produced videos, there is a lot of care and passion that I put in there. But you can see this outdoor section of Walmart, while it's not that big for you know, some of the ones I've seen, honestly the best Walmart I've ever seen is the Rockwall, Texas Walmart. So if you haven't had a chance to check out that video, please check it out. It's a detailed, comprehensive video of all of the plants available at the Rockwall Walmart, so definitely check that out. But you can see here we've got a bunch of succulents and cacti, and I want to learn more about succulents and cacti. I mentioned this in all of my videos. I'm just not really versed with the plant IDs as compared to some of the other plants. And that's the reason why, because I never really grew up growing succulents and cactus except for jade plants. So I'm not as versed or familiar with them. I will say there are a lot of plant foldies that like succulents and cactus. And so I try to get you guys plants, or at least plants on film for some of the plants that you guys might be interested in. It is important for me to give you guys content that you would be interested in while still giving you the content that I'm passionate about. So I will talk about Coleus plants. I will talk about Aglaonema. I will say Hydra Helix, just because those are the things that are interest for me. But I also want you guys to also give me plants that you guys want to see on film. So if I'm able to find them while out and about and filming, I will definitely do so. But you can see right here, assorted succulents and cactus. These are by Element Plants, but also Smart Plants sources out succulents as well. That's the thing I like about big box stores, is there is a plethora of succulents that you can find. I have yet to find like a succulent and cactus type nursery. If I do, I will definitely do a plant video about that. And what I like about, succulents and cactus is when you really look at the nuances of succulents and cactus, they have so many varieties. It is a whole new world. So plant foldies, especially the ones that know how to grow succulents or grow succulents, please leave in the comments what succulents you enjoy, what succulents have worked for you, what succulents you would suggest growing in a home. So just let me know about that. My favorite succulent would be an Aeonium. Those are really cool, but I learned from an Aeonium that if you grow an Aeonium in hotter conditions, they don't do very well, because I just assumed that all succulents are like desert plants and they could just do heat, but that is not necessarily the case. Another thing I learned about succulents is you don't really want to get the succulent leaves wet or keep them wet. So I was top watering my Aeonium plants, and then when you top water the Aeonium plants and then the Texas hot sun hits it, it not only burns it, it was just not a good situation. So I learned my lesson on that. It's one of those things, again, it's all about just learning from your mistakes and really learning about the plants. So we'll see what that all looks like in terms of whether I add actual succulents to my collection. But you can see here, this one is for $4.97. Really like the look of this one. Look at that variegation as well. And then the pink, I am all about that pink variegation. I think it's super cool. This succulent almost has some cool ground cover effect right here. I really like that as well. This one is also for $4.97. Really like that. Now, I wouldn't know too much about the plant care tips for this, but again, plant foldies, that's the reason why I always ask for like plant care tips and just plant information in general. I just think that it's one of those things where it is a community we have on Grow Folds. So if you have any commentary about succulents and cactus, please leave that in the comment section. Like this one right here, I am wanting to buy. This is a Crassula obliqua tricolor, or a tricolor jade plant. I love that as well. And if you actually sun stress it, which means you give it a lot more light, you'll get more of the pinks out of that one. And that's what's really cool about this particular succulent. And I love jade plants. That's the one plant I am more familiar with, just because my grandmother and mom grew these as a kid, when I was a kid, and I was always exposed to it. And that's the reason why a lot of the plants that I may cater to, they have a sentimental recall for me. Like I remember my first houseplant I grew was a Syngonium white butterfly, and that was a plant that I bought at Target of all places. And I remember growing it in my bathroom, and the bathroom didn't even have any windows, but for some reason it was still able to grow. So those are things that bring me memories from my childhood, and those are things that make it personal for me when it comes to plants. Now, some people are into plants because of the monetary value. If you are, I'm okay with that. But for me, I really just like to grow plants, not because they're a rare plant, but literally it's a plant that brings me joy. And I don't know if you guys are on the same boat. Plant foldies, I want to know what your thoughts are. But As you can see here, lots of echeveria. Love this as well. Look at that. It almost looks like ivory. Look at that, echeveria. And then we just have several different types of succulent plants. This one is just a common jade plant, but it's another plant that is easy to grow. At least for all the succulents I've seen, they've done very well. And what I've found is a lot of these succulents prefer temperatures that are not too high. So that's the reason why when I was in California, a lot of people actually grow like succulents, like jade plants in their landscape, because they have very stable weather. And you would think that succulents can actually grow in like super hot weather, and that is not necessarily the case. I remember talking to a lady who was selling rare succulents at PlantCon 2024 in Houston, and she said that a lot of the plants of her succulents she grows in the backyard, but when it's summertime, she has to take them indoors because it's too hot. I should have remembered what she told me, because I just thought I could just put one of these succulents and put them out in direct sun and it'd be okay, but that is not the case. But you can see here another type of jade plant here. I'm thinking if I'm gonna go add succulents, I'm gonna go ahead and just buy jade, because those are the succulents I'm most familiar with. And then you can see here, look at this interesting aloe vera, and look at how that root is just popping out. What an interesting texture as well on it. So plant foldies, let me know what you think about the succulents that you've seen so far. What succulents are you currently growing? What is a wish list succulent? I know I've asked a lot of questions in the shopping video today, but I really want to garner more engagement when it comes to like comments. And then for all of the plant foldies that continue to leave comments, you can leave multiple comments. It doesn't mean that you can just put one comment. You can put as many comments as you want. I will definitely comment back and reply to you. It's just really cool to see that. But you can see here, look at this succulent right here. I love seeing blooms on succulents. Like, look at how delicate this bloom is right here. Really nice pink blooms. And I like this succulent because this is another crassula. I didn't even realize this was a jade plant until I saw the plant ID. You can see the underside's got that red purple tone, and then it's green as well. But many succulents to choose from. Walmart would be a place I would suggest getting succulents, because for the most part, their succulents are a little bit more cost effective as compared to a lot of the big box stores. They're definitely going to be more cost effective when you compare it to local plant nurseries. And you can see here, we've got some containers, and I want to pan over here and show you this cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. One of my favorite plants to look at and grow. This one does better being grown outdoors. I currently have mine growing in full sun, and it's doing well. It's giving me some beautiful pink variegation. And you can see here, these are pentas flowers or flower clusters. These ones need full sun, and this one is for $18.47. I love flowering plants as well. As a kid, I grew a lot of flowering plants, especially from seed, marigold and zinnia specifically. I actually have some zinnia flowers growing in my backyard. Literally tossed some seeds in the ground and they grew. And I'm gonna walk over here and show you some more of these container plants. These are all for $17.88. The first one would be lantana. Love lantana because they are a vigorous grower. When I say vigorous grower, they spread quickly and grow quickly and produce beautiful flowers. They are great pollinator plants. You'll get a lot of pollinators around, and then you can see here beautiful colors on this caladium. So I've shown you a lot about caladiums. I love caladiums. I bought a couple of caladiums that I plan to grow indoors. They're currently outdoors in a container, but you can see they come in many different varieties. This one is for $17.88. You've got a combination of the red caladium and some pink. I prefer the pink caladiums. I would love to get some of those more rare hybrid caladiums, like the Pink Symphony Thai hybrid caladium. That looks super cool. And the thing about caladiums are they can grow from bulbs pretty quickly in Texas, just because the bulbs actually start to sprout when it starts to get a little hot. And I will say it was really hot yesterday. It was like 96 degrees, felt like 100. And then even today we have some hot weather. It looks like we didn't even have like a tornado or a storm hit us. It is super sunny this afternoon as I do this voiceover. And you can see over here, caladiums again for $17.88. This one is more of the red strap leaf caladium. Really like that a lot. And you notice that all of these plants just got a really good soak. Some plants like to be top watered, But some plants, if I were you, I would do your research on it, like Rex begonias, succulents, for instance. You don't want to really water them from the top. Same thing with rose bushes. Like if you water rose bushes, especially at night, that's not a good thing, because that's how you get like fungus diseases. So I've learned this through experience. So plant folies, let me know what your experience are on whether you water your plants from the top, or do you water the surface, or do you bottom water? I'd like to know that as well. And then over here, we've got some crepe myrtles. So crepe myrtles are readily available and grown all over the North Dallas area, which is where I'm based at. They're easy to grow and they are fast growers. They make beautiful flowers and they are heat and drought tolerant. So once established, crepe myrtles do really well in hotter areas. And honestly, they prefer that. In cooler areas or cooler climates, they end up getting fungus diseases. So again, it is all about knowing your grow zone, knowing your climate. Like for me, my grow zone is 8B. So whenever I do outdoor plant shopping, I have to really do my research on what plants are applicable to my grow zone. Now, I really try to push the envelope to grow like Japanese maples. They are not necessarily the best in growing in Texas just because we have such hot weather. And then over here is the plant of the hour, the plant of the day, the plant of the year for me, and that is Coleus plants. I have never really grown Coleus until this year. I've never been interested in Coleus plants. I always thought that they were just like an annual plant that you would grow in the landscape in a flower bed, but I did not realize that there are many ways to grow Coleus. There are many varieties. Like this one right here is a flamethrower Coleus, which means that this particular Coleus can take full sun. Some Coleus really cannot tolerate sun at all, so they have to be in more shaded areas, but this Coleus can take full sun, anything flamethrower. So that's all of these different hybrids, and they're constantly getting different types of hybrids of Coleus plants. And the reason why I feel like it's easy to hybridize Coleus plants is they bloom and you can cross-pollinate the blooms and really get different types of crossbreeding when it comes to that. I would love to experiment with that someday. Here is another Coleus I love for $5.88. It's a really good value for this Coleus Campfire. Now, what I've discovered with Campfire is the red leaves become more red the more light it receives. It is a plant that can grow in a lot of sun, even full sun. It can tolerate that. Now, the only downside with Coleus plants is you have to keep their soil moist. They don't like to dry out. They're a very thirsty plant. But on the top side, or the more positive side, Coleus plants are vigorous growers. They come in many varieties of colors, shapes, sizes. They're typically inexpensive, and you can get a lot of free plants from a Coleus plant because you can literally take cuttings. And I would encourage cutting back your Coleus anyway, because when you take a cutting, 2 more shoots come out of the node and you get more of a bushier plant. I've seen a lot of European Instagram accounts have a lot of these Coleus plants, and when I say that it opened my mind and just my interest in growing Coleus plants, it's another thing. In Europe, they call them palette leaf plants. There is a huge craze for them. They grow those plants indoors. I've seen full-blown trees of Coleus growing indoors, and that's because they've been trained to do so. And that's what I would like to eventually do, is grow a couple of Coleus and train them. So what I'm doing is with some of my Coleus, I'm not chopping it back. I'm literally letting them get taller and taller until I get to the height I want. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it on like a stick to keep it stable, and then chop the top of the Coleus up. And then that way it'll promote more branching. Like this one right here would be a good candidate. This is another Coleus. This is the Main Street Coleus for $8.77. Notice how it's kind of lost its lower leaves and how it's just got 2 stems going up. I would let it grow up a little bit further, and then I would get rid of all of the leaves on the bottom and just let the top grow. And then I would eventually chop that to produce more leaves or more branching, and then it'll become a Coleus tree. Or if there was 3 shoots, I would braid them up. I saw some braided Coleus actually fused together, and it was really cool because Coleus plants, their stems can actually get woody as it becomes more mature. So things that I learned by just doing my research and just checking Instagram. So again, plant folies, if you don't have an Instagram account, create one. Add me on Instagram. You'll see a lot of other content that I do. Let me know what you guys think of my Instagram reels. I also post my Instagram reels on YouTube as YouTube shorts. I have been trying to do that daily as well, so let me know what you think. And then over here, vinca plants or vinca flowers. I love vinca flowers, especially for hot conditions. This is a plant that you can grow in containers, hanging baskets, flower beds. They prefer full sun. They are very drought tolerant as well, so that's a great plant to grow in a hot climate like Texas. And then these are a beautiful arrangement of Coleus Kong or Kong Coleus. Now, Kong Coleus are typically what they call big leaf Coleus, so these leaves can get even larger. I love the neon color of this particular Coleus plant. It is a vigorous grower. It is one that can get really large leaves. These are only for $6.77. This is the Garden Expert one, so it's not the Better Homes and Garden. So it's more of the more cost-effective brand of Walmart. And you notice how that Coleus has a branch that has fallen out and is like pretty much about to detach itself. What I would do is I would take this little cutting right here and I'm just gonna stick it back into the soil. And you know what? If you water this and keep the soil consistently moist, it will root within a week and then you'll have another plant. So that's the thing about Coleus I love. I don't like wasting cuttings. I don't like wasting plants. And that's the thing about Coleus. I always propagate the cuttings. Like I try not to throw them away. And that's probably the reason why I have like more than 50 Coleus plant propagations. Like I do intend to do them as like plant giveaways to plant foldies. So for those that live in the United States, I may send you some plants. Like I really want to share my gratitude is what I'm trying to say. My gratitude for all of the viewership you guys have given me over the last couple of months. Like seriously, I was surprised that you know, a lot of people tuned in for a 3.5 hour long marathon of plant shopping videos. You know, when I reflected back on some of my plant shopping videos, I realized that that was a lot of time and effort I placed to make those videos, and to see it for 3.5 hours and to see you guys celebrate it, you know, go in and out of the chat, that was just amazing. And I was surprised about the amount of views it receives. So if you want, you know, that kind of content, definitely let me know. And then just know that that is the content I will be producing starting on June 27th. So I've gotten 3 compilations already scheduled. What I would do, plant foldies, is make sure you are going to that link if you see it pop up on your YouTube feed, and put the notification bell on. That way you're notified. But you can see lots of different plants over here. This is another Aglaonema plant. I'm not sure about what this plant's care tips are, but you can see that it's got some really nice looking flowers, and obviously that wax begonia right here, the big leaf wax begonias. We've got a lot of these impatiens right here. See, these New Guinea impatiens are really nice as well. Now, impatiens have to be grown more so in shade unless they are the sun patient. But just keep that in mind. I do like the look of the leaves as well as the stems. I find it really interesting, and there's just a lot of diversity when it comes to impatiens. It is another plant that I was exposed to growing up. My grandmother grew those in the shaded areas, but look at that it always reminds me of like begonia stems as well. And you can see right here more Coleus plants. I really hope you guys don't get tired of Coleus plants. I already know, guys, plant foldies, I already know Coleus are not everybody's cup of tea. It is definitely my cup of tea with biscuits. Like, I love Coleus plants. Look at that. How can you not like Coleus plants? Beautiful neon green borders with that dark burgundy color in the middle, and even that light pink veining. That's super cool. This one is a pretty full Coleus plant for $8.77. Notice how this piece broke off. What I would do is I would stick that stem into the soil and, you know, let that propagate itself. That's really easy. For those that haven't seen my grandmother, I have a little shorts video on YouTube where she literally talks about plant propagation. She just says, I just stick it into the soil. And that's exactly what I do with the Coleus plants. I just stick them into soil. I was putting them in water, but I figured it's faster and more efficient for me to just stick them into soil. So that's what I've been doing. Now, this is a Coleus plant I almost want to rescue. If it was on sale, I would do it, but I'm not going to pay $8.77. But what I would do is I would take all of the leaves from the bottom, all the bottom leaves and bottom stems, and just have 3 sticks. And what I would do is I would braid the 3 sticks together so they would fuse and become a Coleus tree. I think that would be super cool, and I could actually grow it. I actually found an Instagram account that has a braided coleus tree. It was super beautiful. And so if you are on my Instagram, check out my Instagram stories. I always repost ways to grow coleus, and that maybe you'll understand why I love coleus so much. But you can see right over here, look at that beautiful pink coleus right here. Love that. And you know, coleus plants, their coloration is really influenced by the amount of light you provided. The more light you provide a coleus plant, especially that bright indirect light, the better coloration it's going to get, the more vigorous it's going to get. It's a super fast plant to grow. You can literally like chop it back to its base, and within about a week and a half, 2 weeks, it's a full-blown plant again, and it's even going to be more bushy. So coleus plants, plant folies, let me know if you are going to grow coleus plants, or at least give it a try. I mean, they're not that expensive. You can find them for like $1.99 and see how it goes for you. And then over here, we've got lantana. These are the lantana bandana ones, the yellow ones. Really like the look of this. I also like yellow flowers, and notice how these are beautiful small clusters of flowers. Lantana are easy to grow, especially in more hotter conditions like Texas. So that is a plant that I've decided will be growing in my landscape. I've got quite a bit in my backyard growing, and they are starting to really spread and get you know, and grow. And the great thing about I keep saying coleus, as you can tell, I'm obsessed with coleus, but the great thing about lantana plants is that they can be grown as a perennial in Texas. So what that means is a perennial plant is a plant that will go through a whole growing cycle. It'll grow in spring, summer, and fall, die back in the winter, and then come back in the spring or summer, year after year. And then you can see here more crepe myrtles. But for the bad weather we got, it wasn't too bad, except some of these plants did take some beating. So what I'm going to do is actually take this basil right here and put it back into its pot. You know, I always try to like help plants whenever I go plant shopping. I always hope for the best for these plants. Like I hope that people will buy them before they decline in their health or become clearance plants and then end up in the trash. There's just a lot of plastic that gets thrown away from some of these plants. So I always try to like do my best to at least take care of the plants while I'm going out here and plant shopping. And that's the thing, again, you never know what plants you're gonna run into when you go big box store plant shopping. Sometimes you'll assume that a location doesn't have the best plants, and then you'll find like a variegated Monstera Thai constellation, for instance. I have yet to get that experience, but I'm hoping. And you can see right here, Asiatic jasmine. I didn't notice that they get a little bit woody. It is a plant that I was thinking about possibly growing indoors. We'll see. I like the variegated form. And then you can see all of this ground cover. Now, what I found about ground cover is ground cover plants can potentially be hanging basket plants indoors or trailing plants. One plant that I am obsessed with would be the variegated ajuga. Every single plant shopping video, if there is a variegated ajuga to be found at that store, I will show it. And this is another one right here. This one is in a 4-pack. And what I like about the variegated ajuga is it does have some beautiful variegation, some creams, some lavenders, some purples, some pinks, and it can grow in full sun or shade. So I like that it has versatility when it comes to lighting conditions. So that will be a plant that I will potentially try to grow indoors. Right now it's out in my front patio getting full sun. And then you can see here Plumera. So that's really cool to see Plumeras at Walmart. This is for $34.74. I'm curious to see what the bloom color is by these Plumeras. These are by Costa Farms as well for the Island Bloom series. We've got some bougainvilleas and we've got some dark foliage plants. Love dark foliage plants. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? This is a potato vine hanging basket for $17.88. Really like this as well. This is a vigorous growing plant. It is a plant that takes full sun. It needs to be in full sun to really grow. And notice how this has a broken stem. So I'm just going to stick that back into the soil, hoping that it will root. It is an easy to propagate plant. I would love to grow this purple potato vine indoors. I've tried it in the past, but they tend to get spider mites. So again, when it comes to certain plants that are really meant to grow outdoors, the reason why they end up getting spider mites is because they're not in the best conditions for growing. It is one of those things where if a plant's health is compromised in any sort, they become more susceptible to plant pests. So my way to combat that is to spray my plants with my DIY neem oil preventative spray. I spray my plants now once a week. I spray the tops of the leaves, the bottoms of the leaves, the stems, the crevices of their nodes, the top of the surface, and the bottom of the drainage hole to really prevent pests. Obviously, I can still go through that, but I will also understand that pests will still appear. It's just a preventative. And that's something I learned talking to another plant owner, or plant shop owner named Lupita. She owns Peta's Planters. If you haven't checked out the Peta's Planters shop, I have a video. I have 2 videos actually that really detail that. But we were talking about how plant pests are part of plant parenthood. It's something that you can't really avoid, but you can mitigate and make sure that it stays minimal. And then over here, we've got some ajuga plants, beautiful ajuga plant here. This is another one that's got dark foliage. It's one that I'm considering to grow in my plant collection. This one is a little bit more compact. And with the ajuga plant, if you give it that light, it will have that darker foliage. This one is for $4.37. Really like the look of ajuga plant. Look at that. That is amazing. And that is a plant that I definitely want to add into my plant collection. Super easy to grow. It's one that I definitely want to just keep adding. You know, I want to keep creating a trend of growing plants that are not really seen as a tropical house plant for indoor spaces. So if you like that type of content, again, please make sure you are hitting that like button and the subscribe button with the notification bell on. I really want to see our plant foliage community grow. Right now, we are about at 9,550 subscribers. So just another 450 people to subscribe. We'll get to 10,000 subscribers. That would be amazing. In the last 5 months, we've really grown our plant foliage community. So I would love to see that. And then over here, we've got some caladiums. Now this has some beautiful green veining on the caladiums. I really like the look of this particular caladium, and notice how it's got some white leaves. This one is actually pretty cost effective for $6.97. I would love to add this caladium to my collection. It is one that, you know, I like white foliage plants as much as I like pink ones. I would love to do a caladium collection. I might do that when I come back from the Philippines. We'll see. But I'm also trying to think about some of the plants. Luckily, I have my sister that lives in the same area as me that can come over here and water my plants while I'm gone. And that's the thing, plant foliage. Do you ever take like a vacation? Who do you have take care of your plants? Or what do you do to prepare your plants for a long vacation? Please leave that in the comments. I really want to know that, because I will be going to the Philippines in 30 days, and I'm really excited to be coming back home to my family's home country. I am definitely very excited to show you what plant shops they have, what plant pricing they have. It'll be very interesting to see. You know, obviously they don't have those types of big box store plants, but what I will say is the plants that you see in, you know, tropical house plants, you'll see in the wild. So stay tuned for that. Know that a lot of my videos that will be premiering are going to be longer format videos, and my intent is just to have like a plant party for you guys. So while I may not always be on the live premiere chats, I still want to maintain that same type of engagement through the live premiere chats. They'll typically be 2.5 to 3 hour long videos. So obviously don't feel obligated to stay through the whole time. You can drop in, chat with some people, come out of the chat, come back in, just kind of like what everybody was doing yesterday. I was still surprised that we had 118 people at the peak of the live premiere chat. So that was really cool. I actually had to screenshot that just so I can remind myself that we finally hit over 100 people in the live premiere chat. And then over here, we've got a Philodendron Birkin. This is for $14.97 in a self-watering planter. Philodendron Birkin, beautiful plant. I've seen different varieties of variegation on a Philodendron Birkin. Look at this one right here. It's got a beautiful white variegation. And then we have a Gianthus plant, or a geo plant. I don't know a lot about this plant. I do know that this is a beautiful looking plant. It looks fake. It almost looks like just plastic rubber. I have heard that this is a finicky plant. So plant foliage, let me know what you know about this particular plant. It is a dark foliage plant that I may want to add to my collection, but for me, I'm all about the easy to care for plants now, just because knowing how my life has been the last couple of months, been super busy. And then with YouTube, you know, these plant videos take an average of 5 to 6 hours to produce. And when I'm doing this daily, it is a little bit much on top of like balancing my life and my job as well. So a tough plant to grow may not necessarily be in the works for me. I do want to grow this philodendron painted lady. This is a beautiful one as well. And notice how it's gotten a little bit more light than it needed to be, because it started to get a little bit browning. You can see that some of the leaves have actually started to bleach out. And calathea. As much as I love the look of calatheas, I don't think I'll be adding any calatheas to my plant collection. Whenever I talk to plant lovers, they always say calatheas are the biggest heartbreakers. They definitely are. It's that one plant that will entice you. It's kind of like when you see a very attractive person and you were, you know, single at one point, but then you know that that very attractive person is also a heartbreaker. I kind of say that about calatheas because they are beautiful plants, very attractive plants, but very finicky plants, very high maintenance plants, and a plant that literally will break your heart. Like if you don't give it the care it needs, it will literally die very quickly. And I have killed quite a bit of calatheas as well, but I just keep coming back to it because I don't know about you plant foldies, but there are certain plants that really entice me to want to buy it again. The one plant that has my heart, and it has broken my heart many times, is the Hydra Helix, for instance. And that is another plant that I did a bad thing and I bought another one, but it was on clearance. So plant foldies, what do you think so far of these plants? Like this Monstera Peru, this one is for 1984. This is a plant though that would be an easy to care for plant. Typically Monsteras are quite easy to take care of, so it is a plant that I could add to my collection. I've noticed that philodendrons and, you know, like this philodendron Birkin, for instance, would be an easy to care for plant. I think those are the plants that are really more suitable for me. Calatheas, those types of plants, I kind of need to steer away from. Even Syngoniums, as much as I love Syngoniums, I've kind of realized that I just don't have the time to really invest in like watering them and really upkeeping them. So it's a plant that unfortunately I'm gonna have to scale back a little bit on. I know that sounds a little bit disappointing for some of you guys, but I like to keep it real. I like to be transparent about what plants I am struggling with. So let me know in the comments what plants you're struggling with, what plants you've had to like not grow as much because of maybe the care conditions. Now this Ficus lyrata right here, I'm so surprised, but my Ficus lyrata has done very well with neglect. Like I talk about how it needs consistency. I will say I'm consistent about the watering, but in terms of just like everything else, it's been growing pretty well for me, considering it was a 99-cent plant find that I found on clearance. So that's the thing too, plant foldies, like this one right here, this is another Aglaonema. I was surprised to find this Aglaonema. I don't often see this Aglaonema at big box stores anymore, and it is nice. What I love about it is, look at those white stems. White stem Aglaonema are amazing, and this is also for $14.97. Definitely want to get more Aglaonema in my collection. I am starting to really stabilize my houseplant collection and even the space and how I'm displaying them. So if you are going to stick around for my content, definitely know I will do a plant shopping, not a plant shopping video, sorry, a plant haul, plant collection home tour soon, just like some of those other plant YouTubers out there. We'll see how it goes though. I just have to have time to really get my plants together. I say that in every video, but I promise you guys, I am really trying my very best. It looks like a very unorganized jungle in my home right now. You can see here though, Monstera Studliana or Monstera Cobra. Oh, that's how Costa Farms actually calls it. This is another plant that typically does better being grown on a moss pole. So you can see that all of these plants here, the ones I'm picking up, are typically easy to care for. Plants like this ZZ plant is an easy to care for plant. So let me know in the comments, plant foldies, what you guys think of today's video. I know that I wasn't really expecting to go film, but again, your support and just the inspiration you guys give me to continue to just keep shopping and creating plant shopping videos daily keeps me going. So keep up all of the comments as well as hitting that like button. Now this Pilea Dark Mystery here for $4.97. This is a Pilea I definitely want to add to my collection. It is a beautiful plant. dark foliage plant. But as you can see at the Walmart in Anna, Texas, super surprised that they had a very good amount of plants, considering I wouldn't think that smaller towns would have like a huge plant selection. Honestly, sometimes I feel like they have a better selection than maybe a more urban setting. I've noticed that whenever I go to like a big box store in Dallas, Texas, a lot of the plants have already been picked through. So I may start doing even more big box shopping videos in more remote big box stores and, you know, like Walmart's way out there. You can see here, Belgian waffle plant. Love it as well. Very hard to grow plant though. It needs a lot of water. So I'll keep that aside. I love crotons, but crotons, this Sunny Star croton, for instance, needs to be grown outside. It's always marketed as an indoor plant, but I've realized that it really needs to be grown outdoors. I grow mine in full sun and it is doing extremely well. So plant foliage, I've talked about a lot of plants that are meant to be grown outdoors as potentially be growing indoors. There are some plants like the croton, for instance, it needs to be grown outdoors for sure. Purple waffle plant, this actually has done very well for me of all the waffle plants. Beautiful dark foliage. It just needs to stay moist in order for it to really live. But as you can see here, as I pan out over here, many plants to choose from, many hanging baskets. So I was surprised that I was going to end up picking up that Marble Queen Pothos, but I can't set that aside because it's a nice and full one. So plant foliage, I hope you enjoyed today's video with some of this new content. Definitely keep a lookout for more content like this. Leave as many comments as you want and let me know what you think. Please hit that like button. And I hope everybody, especially in the local area of Dallas, has stayed safe. We're supposed to be getting another storm tonight. So be sure to be safe, you know, seek shelter, ask for help. And this is Richie at GrowFolds. I hope you like this new video for today. I will have one tomorrow, a brand new episode as well. As always, please hit the subscribe button. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.